got energy at the end of the second day? Yeah, come on. We're about to announce Startup of the Year. Come on. Woo! Woo! I love that. Thank you. So, as you all know, Startup Grind is the world's largest community of startups. So what better platform onto which we can build a startup program, a program to support companies with all of the network and the resources that we have across the world. So what I wanted to do just before we actually go into the award and where I tell you kind of what the winners get and how we work with them and obviously who they are, just want to run through some numbers from last year. So the program is evolving every year, and it's getting more and more competitive every year. So last year was a great program. Absolutely loved it. We had some fantastic companies, and I'll tell you what some of the companies, or the two companies who won, have done in a minute. But just before we do that, so last year we had 3,100 applications for 337 selected startups. And those companies were from 57 countries and 33 industries. So I am super excited about what we're building here. I think it's a very, very powerful, impactful, exciting and diverse program. I absolutely love speaking to all the people from all over the world. You know, when we're just about to come on and pitch, every single time we kind of lining up in the alley there, just kind of preparing, and I just get to chat to them all. You know, Argentina, it might be Romania, it might be Ukraine, it might be obviously the USA, it might be UK, and they're all kind of sharing in the same goals, the same aspirations, the same kind of almost illogical belief that they can transform an industry, but they probably will. You know, it's absolutely amazing and it's so inspiring. My passion is helping people who want to create things that are going to be impactful and change the world. So this is the best role that I could possibly have. So that was last year. Just to give you, once again, obviously Finn talked there about having 54 companies pitching today. Those are the Accelerate companies. And what Accelerate is the top 50 companies that exhibit at the global conference, and then at Europe conference, it's a smaller conference, so we have another 20. So last year we had 90 Accelerate startups onboarded to our program across the global, European, and APAC conferences, and that works out with 3,100 applications. Don't test my maths here, at 2.9%. Did this just before I came on, and they're from 25 different countries. So obviously intensely competitive. The way that we choose these companies, obviously we have a wide variety of people in the Startup Grind ecosystem. We have obviously the Startup Grind team. We have the community of directors themselves across the world in 120 plus different countries. We've got so many investors and speakers and partners that come along as well. So when the companies apply, they do a second longer form application where they tell us about their product, their market, their team, their ambition and fundraising strategy, growth strategy, and so on. And we go through those meticulously to define which ones we think are the best companies. So what do we do with the companies outside of conference? Obviously, you've seen them pitching. Some of them are doing panels. They're meeting investors and partners and exhibiting in the tents and all the benefits that come with that as well. We're also building this program to support them on what is a very lonely journey as a founder or a founding team when you're trying to take over the world and disrupt an industry. So, you know, with the 90 Accelerate companies that you saw there last year after the conference, we've got the 3 pillars of the program, which are education, network building, and exposure. And just to give you a kind of a rough idea of what we did with them, you can see there are 20 webinars and virtual events. The way that we do that is essentially ask the founders what they need to learn, what they want to learn, what they're struggling with, and we try and match them essentially with someone who can help them do that. So obviously there's coaching and there's one-to-one meetings with mentors, but there's also these webinars where we actually run kind of one-to-many, and it might be 10, it might be 15. It's still very, very curated. And we've also been doing virtual events as well with a company called Tio. It's really, really cool because it's a remote program with people all over the world. Obviously, the network building pillar comes with investor and partner meetings. We did 500 introductions after the conference last year between, you know, chapter directors as companies are expanding, to investors when people are looking to raise money and so on. And then finally on the exposure pillar, these companies are doing great things. So they're being covered in Forbes, in TechCrunch, in the Next Web, in Yahoo. So, you know, just keep looking out for these companies and seeing what they'll do because it's really inspiring. Just before we go into the announcement of this year's winners, just to show you what the companies did, we stood here on this very stage a year ago and awarded 8base the Grind Startup of the Year award and IOTAS the Growth Award. 8base were accepted into Techstars in November, Techstars Austin. They're really excited about that. They're doing super well, and I've seen a lot of media coverage talking about what they're doing. And we got IOTAS as well, who've raised an 8.5 million Series A with Intel and Liberty Global. So it's really cool to be part of the journey with these companies and to work with these founders. And I'm looking forward to doing the same with our team and the founders of the companies that we're going to announce today. So just before we do that, the Global 2020 numbers, so that's just this conference. You remember last year we had 3,100 in the whole year. We had 4,000 for this conference alone this year from 133 countries. That was mind-blowing when I first found that out. 323 startups you've seen exhibit. That shows again that that's down at around 8% that were out of the 4,000. So it's getting increasingly competitive, which is obviously pushing the quality up for us as well, which is great. And these coming from 49 countries. Accelerate numbers of the companies that Finn was talking about there having pitched and taken part in Accelerate. 54 from 19 countries, and you can see there at 1.35% of all applicants. So it came from 2.9% of making it onto Accelerate to 1.35% this year. So what do the winners get? Well, we've talked there about the 3 pillars of the program that we're building here: the education pillar, the network building pillar, and exposure. I'm not going to go into detail in kind of how we work with these companies. Obviously, again, we've got our baseline set of things that we work with them with, but we also work with them kind of to develop things based on how they want to expand. So it's kind of tailored as well. On the education thing, just to give you an example, one of the first things we'll do after this conference is make an introduction between the founder and our founder and CEO, Derek Anderson, who's obviously got a wide network and a lot of experience that he can help these companies with. So that's an example of the education pillar. Network building, obviously, we've talked about as they look to raise and as they expand, maybe geographically, we use our community in 120 countries to help them, introduce them to people who have local knowledge and expertise, as one example. And exposure is essentially using our platform to amplify their message. So here we are on Grind Startup of the Year. Before I do this, I'd love to bring on my team. Jamila, Ayush, Naman, Imogen, would you like to come on? Can we give them a massive round of applause, because I could not do this without them. In addition to everything that Startup Grind does and all the different teams, the people who run the conference, the people who run the community, and so on and so on, this is my team, so I wanted to bring them out for the award that we're about to give. So what we've done is we've narrowed it down from the 25 Accelerate Grind startups to a top 3. And you can see here that the, obviously, Evolve being in the energy industry, we've got My Personal Therapeutics in the healthcare and biotech industry, and Flatfile in the enterprise SaaS industry. So again, just showcasing the sort of diversity that we have on the program. So let's do it. Can we get a drum roll? I'd love if you guys could all give us a drum roll. And the audience, come on, and the audience. And the winner of the 2020 Grind Startup of the Year is Evolve Energy. We've got Evolve. Oh, here. Hey, man. Congratulations. So congratulations to Evolve. Without putting you on the spot, I would love to put you on the spot and ask you to just do another 1-minute pitch. If you could just remind people what you do, that'd be amazing. Thanks, Mike.
Great, happy to do that. So hi everyone, my name is Michael Lee with Evolve Energy. At Evolve, we can save our energy customers up to 50% on their electricity costs and truly decarbonize their footprint. And the way we do this is that we enable them to get access to what's called wholesale power prices, which dynamically change but are really, really low price. And then as we see those energy prices spike, we shift their usage to cheaper times. Coincidentally, these cheaper times are because there's a lot of renewable energy on the grid, and so we're actually aligning their consumption to when wind and solar are producing, and then shedding load as we see a lot of fossil fuels that are really expensive and really dirty come onto the grid. So ultimately, we're looking to scale. We just launched in Texas 2 months ago. We have customers doubling almost every single month and 97% retention rate, even though we don't have any long-term contracts. And we're really looking forward to disrupting the energy industry. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. If you could just stay on stage, we'll do the growth one and we'll get a picture all together as well. Fantastic. So now we come on to Growth Startup of the Year. So I would say, arguably, this was even more competitive. You know, some incredible companies. We spent so long looking at the growth companies. You can see here we've got Hello Package, which is in the logistics and transportation space. We've got Swit Technologies here in the enterprise SaaS space, and Jiva more in the connectivity and telecommunications space. So without further ado, let's do another drum roll. We can do it better this time. Come on. And the winner is of the Growth Startup of the Year 2020, Swit Technologies. Welcome, Swit. So let's do the same again. Swit, we'd love to hear, once again, if you could just give everyone a refresher on what Swit does.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Josh, CEO at Swit. We provide enterprises with a team collaboration platform that seamlessly combines team chat like Slack with task management like Trello in one convenient place. So you could turn your conversation into trackable task, and you could share your task to chat channel simply by drag and drops. So we could finally move different workflows, maintaining context and data. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think we'll do a picture all together. Do you want to come on? Let's do a quick picture. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.